For Around the Ozarks in 5, brought to you by Talking Rocks Cavern. Explore the beauty above and below ground at Talking Rocks Cavern. The Springfield Greene County Park Board reminding you to go play, and Roto-Rooter Plumbing and Drain Service. Call Southwest Missouri's best plumber today for a free estimate. Here are your hosts, Ethan and Sarah Forhetz.
And here we are on a Tuesday. Hope your week is going well, and we will do what we always do and start out with some news to get you going.
Here we go. A man is in police custody in Pulaski County accused of intentionally hitting a deputy's patrol car. The 33-year-old refused to stop for a traffic stop in St. Robert and instead put his car in reverse and purposefully backed into the patrol car, then took off onto I-44. That man was arrested in Phelps County, and the deputy, fortunately, was not hurt. 2 juveniles are accused of robbing 3 people at the Battlefield Mall and shooting at them. It happened over the weekend. 3 teenagers apparently were sitting in one car when 4 people came over and tried to rob them. The 3 teens took off and then the robbers attempted to shoot at them as they were driving away. No one was hit or hurt. 2 of the 4 would-be thieves have been arrested. Pretty wild.
Yeah, that is crazy. Right there at the Battlefield Mall, which is a popular place this time of year.
As I say, especially this time of year, I'm sure it was very busy this weekend.
Yeah. Some Missouri lawmakers want to increase the pay of teachers in the state. There are currently 2 bills pre-filed in the legislature that would raise the starting salary of teachers in Missouri to $38,000 from $25,000 where it is currently. The hope is that it would greatly help with retaining current teachers and recruiting new teachers to the state. Meanwhile, the school district in Branson is adding to its security force. The Branson School District adding 4 school protection officers. These are officers who will be armed. They are well-versed in crisis management, conflict resolution, security, surveillance, those types of things. The district already has a director of public safety and 4 school resource officers. So now 8 officers combined in the Branson district.
City Utilities is moving to add to its drinking water supply. If approved by the Army Corps of Engineers, CU would purchase storage space for an additional 9.5 billion gallons of water. CU currently has 16.2 billion gallons of space in Stockton Lake. The move is intended to support the water supply during drought conditions and secure the water supply far into the future. The cost of the new space would be about $15 million. Work is underway on Paul Mueller Company's $4 million expansion in Springfield. That's exciting. Phase 1 expansion is happening at the campus at Kansas and Chestnut and will add 11,000 square feet of manufacturing space. Paul Mueller makes stainless steel tanks to hold liquids and gases. Phase 1 should be complete in about a year.
Yeah, I noticed that the other day. I drove by there on Kansas and thought, wow, something's going on over there.
It's been a minute since I have looked. I mean, I think I've driven there, but I have not looked around. But yeah, that's really cool for them.
State of Kansas is trying hard to get the Chiefs to relocate there. This is interesting. We know the Royals will be leaving the complex that houses Arrowhead in the next several years for a new home somewhere. They haven't decided yet. So now they're trying to get the Chiefs to move as well. Kansas trying to make them an offer they can't refuse. We'll see what happens. Meanwhile, a Kansas City legislator will host a town hall next Tuesday so the public can find out more and ask questions about the future of their beloved football team.
That would be really wild. That would be wild.
To move out of the state of Missouri into Kansas, yeah. It'd be a big deal.
Yeah.
But that complex, I mean, it's going to be half vacant here in the next several years when the Royals move.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Now to this, perhaps it's a sign of the time. It seems more people are once again turning to gold instead of trusting the American dollar. Gold prices are at a record high, $2,100 an ounce. Experts expect that gold prices will continue to climb well above $2,000 into next year. Very interesting. How about this? For discounted shopping for Christmas, Amazon, this is awesome. Amazon is helping college students get home for the holidays, especially if you have to fly. The company offering 3,000 of its Prime student members domestic flights for the holiday season for $25.
Wow.
That's amazing.
That's great. Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. The discounted flights will be available starting at 8 a.m. today. So hopefully you're watching this early and you see this before 8. If not, if you have a college kid who has to fly home, you need to let them know. 1,000 flights will be offered each day for 3 days. So today, tomorrow, the next day. Members who miss out will be able to get a promotional code, but that will only get you $25 off a flight.
Big difference.
Big difference. This is Amazon trying to take over the world, kind of like Walmart. I mean, they offer everything now.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm not familiar with Amazon's flight scheduling ticket system. Maybe that's new. Maybe
I
this
think
is
it
to
is
get
new,
attention.
and I think it's the same thing. You know, what was it that we did the story on a few months ago? Walmart was like offering like a vet care clinic or something. I mean, at least they're piloting that, testing that at some locations. So I think that this is a pretty darn good introductory thing for Amazon, assuming that nothing gets double booked, which on an airline, I guess it's different. But you know, the problem with finding hotels on like a third party vendor is that you get double booked. It's happened to me twice in big cities. Ugh. Where
Yeah,
I booked
had that
through like
problem.
hotels.com or something. And then I get to
Yeah.
the site and they're like, oh, yeah, you used a third party site. And as it turns out, we were already full, but they still sold you the room. And then it's a
Right.
mess. I mean, I got my money back, but then I was like, 9 p.m. by myself in Memphis. It's pitch black outside. I got a race that starts at 5 a.m. And
Right.
anyway.
Yeah, that
It's
same
happened to
thing
me
happened
twice. It happened to me in Tulsa too.
It happened to me in Tulsa. With the girls and I were there for a swim meet, and we're driving around at 9:30, 10 at night trying to find a place to stay because there are a lot of people there for the swim meet and other stuff.
Yeah. So I'm sure hotels will be different through a third party site than flights. Flights are obviously a little bit more secure,
Well,
but
they
interesting.
always overbook those.
Yeah, we shall see. All right.
Hey, if you're in the Christmas spirit, here's a way to act on it. Rogersville is giving you a great opportunity. Chamber of Commerce there is hosting a blanket drive going on now through December 15th. That drop-off location is right there at the Chamber office in Rogersville. And you can also stop by and make cash donations if you'd prefer. But the goal there is to just try to keep neighbors warm during the winter.
Oh. It's a very Grinchy Christmas. Meanwhile, at the Discovery Center, kids can explore Whoville and write a letter to Santa, see the Grinch, lots of photo opportunities, and explore more than 60,000 square feet of hands-on STEM activities. That's exciting. So they can see the Grinch and learn a thing or two. Kids can meet Santa every Saturday from 10 to 2. The Grinch will be there Saturdays and Sundays from 11:30 until 1:30. Again, all at the Discovery Center in Springfield.
Our kids, yet again, watched The Grinch last night. You were away speaking for a while, and they were watching The Grinch.
Well, it's interesting because I don't know where they get their love for The Grinch. Not a fan. I want anyone for Christmas but The Grinch. So, I don't know.
Well, I think already here. What are we? December 5th.
Yeah,
they've already seen every Christmas movie at least 3 times.
Yeah, I mean, I do enjoy Christmas movies with the kids and hot chocolate. Can't beat it. There's coming a day where they won't be in our house anymore. They're going to be catching a flight home. So
Friday night,
enjoy it while it lasts.
Right before it got dark. I had a bright idea because it wasn't too cold. So I thought, hey, I can get my fire pit out and I can start a fire and we can sit out there and have some hot chocolate and just hang out for a little bit. Because it wasn't, I don't want to, if it's really cold, I'm not going to do that. So the kids were like, all right. So they got me some firewood and I started the fire. And literally as soon as the fire started, we got all the supplies, it started sprinkling. And then it started raining pretty hard. So we looked out there and like, oh, that fire's raging pretty good.
Yeah.
we never sat out there and enjoyed it.
Yes. And then my friends, Katie and Carrie, dropped me off after the Memphis half marathon. And we saw the fire pit going strong. and no one enjoying it.
No one enjoying it. But it raged pretty good after we came inside.
It's funny that it was you, because I've always known you to check the weather. So my assumption when I just first saw it was that it was Griffin. I was like, that would be my boy starting a fire.
Right.
But I was wrong. It was my other boy.
Yeah, I didn't. I was
Who has
pretty
the
confident.
weather at his fingertips.
I was pretty confident, just based on the current weather at the time that I started it, that the weather is going to be fine for a fire pit evening. But within 15 minutes, I was dead wrong.
Bummer. Yeah. All right. Well, have a great Christmas time. And you got 20 more days to enjoy the fire, drink some hot chocolate, and go shopping.
And it'll be warmer than normal this week. You can check out Wake Up Weather with Abby Dyer coming up.
Sit outside. Have a good one.
See ya.
It's time for Around the Ozarks Wake Up Weather, sponsored by Scooters Coffee. Here's your host, meteorologist Abby Dyer.
Good morning, everybody. It is Tuesday, December 5th. I am Abby Dyer, and if you're watching the video element of the podcast today, you might notice that my background looks a little bit differently. I am traveling on the road, but the great thing about a podcast is that I can bring you with me. So good morning to everybody in the Ozarks. Temperatures there this morning in the 30s. It's a cold start, and we have numbers that are going to warm up into the 40s for highs this afternoon. We're looking at about 48 degrees for that high temperature. Overall, today, kind of a cold and windy day in the forecast, but I've got a whole lot of content in this weather forecast for you, so we'll dive right in this morning. We're starting out just above the freezing point, mid-30s for most. However, our friends back in the Boot Heel near Cape Girardeau, there are actually freezing fog advisories out this morning. So if you know anybody down there, maybe give them a heads up that conditions could be dangerous for them. We're not having that issue here in the Ozarks, and we really didn't get much at all out of any rainfall last night. Cold front is through, though, and a northwest wind is going to be strong today. That's my headline in the forecast today. Winds gusting 20 to even 30 miles an hour as we go through the course of the afternoon. It's going to be cold and kind of blustery. I have a frontal boundary that's draped across the Midwest. It's through for us here in the Ozarks, which will allow this kind of reinforcing shot of cold air into the region. High temperatures will stay in the 40s, as I mentioned, for a lot of us, but don't worry, the cooler weather is not here all week long. Either side of that 50-degree point for highs today, I'm going 48 degrees for the high temperature in Springfield. But by Thursday, we're back into the low and maybe even mid-60s. Gusty winds in the forecast, though, on Thursday. The difference is that they're out of the south on the end of the work week forecast. Unsettled weather is then going to move in for us for the weekend forecast. I really wanted to give you kind of an early warning about that because we could be dealing with really a powerful storm system that moves through for the weekend. So in comparison, this week and even today is quite tranquil, considering we could have a very powerful system coming our way Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Now, I'll tell you right now that there's still some uncertainty with this weekend storm system. I'm not trying to hype anybody up about it. I think we will get some rainfall, though, and potentially even some thunderstorms, maybe excessive rainfall. It's one to watch. Models have kind of wavered back and forth on what exactly they think is going to happen. At times, they've said, hey, we could get some wintry weather here. I'm not totally convinced that's going to happen. We're probably going to have warm air in place when this comes through, but somebody across the country by Sunday is going to get a whole lot of snowfall. I don't think it'll be the Ozarks, but it will be somebody probably in the Midwest or maybe even the Ohio River Valley. So it's something to watch as the weekend gets a little bit closer. For us, I think this begins as a rainfall event on Friday and Saturday and Sunday. I mentioned the chance for a few thunderstorms as well. So it's something that I'm watching as it gets a little bit closer. I'll be fine-tuning some of the details for you. In comparison, today looks pretty calm, even though it's going to be windy. Northwest winds 20 to 30 miles an hour. Really not a nice day to be outside. We will have mostly cloudy skies in the eastern Ozarks today and then mostly sunny everywhere else. Temperatures, they're going to be warming by Wednesday. I think we're back into the mid-50s, 55 degrees, the high temperature tomorrow. We're in the low to mid-60s, about 63 by Thursday, and we should stay in the 60s on Friday. So I have a couple of warm ones for you this afternoon. What's making headlines around the country? Well, it's this atmospheric river for much of the West Coast. torrential rain in a lot of places. In fact, Seattle setting the daily rainfall or day with highest rainfall amounts for Seattle yesterday across the Pacific Northwest. It's just been wet, and this is fueling that flood threat for our friends up in the Pacific Northwest. We also have a Clipper system that's going to be bringing a rain-snow combo to the Great Lakes, and then that's all going to be marching eastward. And then a weekend storm system that could impact us here in the Ozarks that I touched on. Well, I think it could impact much of the country, especially the Ohio River Valley and the Northwest. The Northeast. So that is one to watch for sure. All right, it's time for the Around the Ozarks Wake Up Weather Brain Twister question, sponsored by Scooter's Coffee. I really like this question. I always like these what is not the answer type of questions. So the question that I left you with yesterday was, which of these is not a real word? And the options were A, Bryfit, B, Pludes, C, Grolix, or D, Flinghorn. And if you know one of these, chances are you know the right answer, because these are all kind of a category, the three correct ones. So the one that is not a real word is D, Flinghorn. Sounds like that could be a word. Flingorn. Not a real word. But the other three are Bryfit, Pludes, and Grolix. And I said they all kind of go in the same category. I'm going to walk you through what they are. Bryfit, it has a fairly narrow meaning. It's the cloud signifying in a cartoon that a character or object is leaving rapidly. So they get those little like lines behind them showing them they're storming out of a room or something is falling down. That's Bryfit. Pludes, along the same lines here, it's one of those stylized sweat drops drawn in the air around a character's head, as if it were coming out of the character. So like a baby screaming, and you would see all these little like drops around its head to show you how hard it's screaming. And then Grolix is one of those, they use all those characters, those typographical symbols in place of an obscenity. So you see somebody like with their fists in the air screaming, and it's like exclamation points, question marks. That's called a Grolix, and it's used to show an expletive from a cartoon character. So if you're into comics, you might have known those three words, but the correct answer, if you entered the contest yesterday, was D, Flinghorn. Congrats if you got that one correct. Here's your next opportunity. It would be hard to socialize with this phobia. What is the fear of humans called? Do you think it is A, androphobia, B, anthropophobia, C, gynophobia, or D, phobophobia? I'll have the answer to that one tomorrow morning. That's coming up on Around the Ozarks Wake Up Weather on your Wednesday. So make sure you head to the website and submit your guess. You could win $20 to Scooter's Coffee. While you're there, you can also enter the 12 Days of Christmas giveaway. I told you about this yesterday. Super fun giveaways happening. You can win gift cards for fantastic restaurants in the Ozarks, tickets to some of the area events, or the grand prize. And I have to correct myself from yesterday. I was very disappointed. I was doing my podcast, and you heard me say the grand prize winner is a signed jersey by former Kansas City Chiefs star Dwayne. And I said Bowie. And I said Bowie because I looked this up. I went to Google and I said, hey, Google, how do you pronounce Dwayne Bowie, the American football player? And it led me astray because it said Bowie. So that's what I went with. And then my husband overheard me doing my podcast from the office, and he said, hey, it's not Bowie, it's Bo. And I was like, no, I looked it up. And sure enough, I reviewed the tapes. It is Bo. So you can get a signed jersey from former Kansas City Chiefs star Dwayne Bowe instead of David Bowie. See, I just can't say the name. It's Dwayne Bowe who's going to sign the jersey. Be a super cool prize. You should enter. 12 Days of Christmas with Around the Ozarks. It's going to be a whole lot of great prizes. That's the point. Make sure you enter to win. You can't miss out on it, and answer the trivia question while you're on the website. I will chat with you all early tomorrow morning. Have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you tomorrow.